You are an alien necromancer looking to possess the shells of warriors that have fallen in this unforgiving world, riddled with hideous monsters and surprisingly good musicians. Prepare to die, I mean get knocked out of your shell, as you battle through massive biomes and dungeons to get some glands for a giant?
I'm afraid I have little to offer you without a gland to prepare.
Welcome to Mortal Souls, I mean Dark Shell. Frick it. Hey everybody and welcome to On the Couch. I'm Justin and I'm excited to give you guys my impressions of Cold Symmetry's latest action RPG, Mortal Shell. Now, let's get the obvious out of the way and recognize that this is a Dark Souls clone with its own unique twist. I absolutely love the genre that From Software has created, and I'm not opposed to other games using the same formula to create their own take on this genre. The question is, has Mortal Shell done enough to recreate the best that Dark Souls has to offer, and add enough extra to entice the fans of this genre to buy into this experience? Let's find out. To keep this video short and to the point, let's cover 3 criteria that we will judge Mortal Shell on: design, story, and gameplay. As you start the game, you are immediately greeted with a dark, ominous tone. Then, after going through this initial tutorial area, you are swallowed by a big-ass fish and emerge in the overworld. This area is the center of an interconnected world that you will discover more of throughout the game. I believe the game does a great job at adding diversity to its areas and keeping it fresh with different biomes, enemy types, and loot around each corner. Although, one point of criticism would go towards enemy placement and the lack of movement from these enemies. This makes you feel like they're just waiting around until you get close enough to get jumped. The interconnectivity of the areas are not as clever as Dark Souls or Bloodborne, but it's definitely enough to put a smile on my face after bumbling around the world to then climb through a tunnel to realize I'm back in a familiar area. Graphically, the game is solid, but nothing to write home about. However, the tone and setting that are created through its eerie atmosphere definitely make up for that. The sound design and voice acting are by far one of the strongest points in this game.
Unburdened by the fears of lesser creatures. Deliverance from guilt and shame.
From the intense crunching of combat to the soft plucking of an instrument from a nearby enemy camp, everything seemed to be drawing me in to immerse myself in this world. And it definitely worked. Overall, I was impressed with the world Cold Symmetry crafted, and I was excited to explore every nook and cranny on offer. Next, let's jump into story. As you'd expect from a game in this genre, the story is very cryptic and not in your face. So you'll be spending most of your time discovering parts of this story throughout your journey by unlocking and upgrading shells, talking to NPCs, and reading the occasional message as you stumble upon it. And for a game like this, I like that approach. It leaves enough mystery for me to want to know more, but it doesn't slow my journey down with lengthy dialogue or cutscenes. From what I can gather, you're an alien necromancer who possesses lost warriors to track down hidden sanctums and face formidable foes. Or you're Jonah from the Bible who's running from God and can't seem to escape that giant fish no matter how hard he tries. The game's open to interpretation. Lastly, let's talk about gameplay. Being a game inspired by Dark Souls, you can expect all the similarities in gameplay, such as running, dodging, quick attacks, heavy attacks, parrying, respawning enemies, item farming, souls currency for leveling up, some chick that asks you to keep sipping what I can only assume is battery acid, and so on. The differences in gameplay were what I was much more interested in. Mortal Shell offers some significant changes to the Dark Souls formula, which were for better and for worse. Let me explain. To start off, you can possess the shell of 4 different Lost Warriors, which are essentially your classes in the game. High stamina build, tank build, etc. Each of these shells can be leveled up to add some pretty powerful abilities. I enjoyed the freedom of swapping between different shells and playing differently depending on the enemy I was facing, even if some, more like one of the shells, is far better than the rest. Overall, the combat feels great, weighty and significant in each strike, and for those who choose to explore it, there is a lot of depth in the combos and abilities and how you chain them together. One of the biggest differences is the ability to harden your shell with a cooldown effect. This will turn yourself into stone for a brief moment, making you invincible and staggering enemies that choose to hit you. This added a new dynamic into combat which I very much enjoyed. The one downside to this mechanic is that once you master this way of fighting, it made each encounter significantly easier than other games like this. This get out of jail card could be so powerful within combos that most enemies were wiped out before they could even get a hit in. Now, this isn't all bad, as I did love feeling like an absolute boss when I was in the groove. But for a game that's trying to recreate the challenge of some of the hardest games ever, then I believe it came up short in this aspect. That aside, I very much enjoyed the solid gameplay and unique spin that they put on this beloved genre. This game has definitely satisfied my itch while we eagerly await for Elden Ring to come out. If I was going to give this game an official review, I'd give it a definitive 8.372555960 out of 10. What? But enough from me, I'm more interested to hear what you guys thought about the game, so definitely leave a comment below. If you liked the video, then definitely give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to let me know that you crave more videos like this. Thank you all oh so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.